Well, originally when I had a child, I think I thought the most important thing was to raise them to be successful. And then I learned as my child grew and I got to see them progress that the most important thing was to raise a child that was empathetic and made the world a better place.
I'm hoping to raise a child that is independent and resilient for facing the world the way it is, because by itself the world is difficult.
A child that's self-confident, has the ability to understand and share feelings of another, that's considerate, happy, makes good decisions, is accountable for their actions, independent, truthful, and caring. I hope that they're healthy and happy and that they're able to stand on their own 2 feet.
Okay, yo espero criar a un niño con valores, respetuoso, que se fije metas a futuro para su aprendizaje, para que en algún momento dado él ya llegue adulto sea independiente.
My investment in our family legacy is to raise children who are kind, passionate, guided by integrity, and understand their giftings and conscientiously use them to enhance themselves and others. I want to raise children who are not afraid to live life and explore. I want my children to navigate through life with passion, with confidence, with humility, and a light heart. I want to raise children who are at peace with themselves and with God. My hope for my grandchildren and children is that they stand proudly on the shoulders of generations of Robinsons and Opeodus who have made positive impacts in their sphere of influence. I want them to be compelled to be difference makers and teach their children and their grandchildren to do the same.
I hope they grow up to be good people. I hope they grow up to critically think about things and really make decisions that benefit not just themselves, but the community around them. And I hope that they're happy. I really want them to be happy in whatever they choose, no matter what it is their structure in life.
Mi esperanza para mi hijo es que viva en una sociedad igualitaria, respetuosa, y que se le brinden las mismas oportunidades como cualquier otro ser humano, y que logre sus metas con éxito.
My children and grandchildren are healthy and happy, and that they realize their true potential and pursue their interests and talents. That they also inherit a very green earth and a very peaceful world.
My child can become the most successful, confident citizen that they can be outside and ready to do the adulthood with no struggle. And I know it's not going to be easy, but we as parents, we need to prepare them for that one, give them the confidence to become whatever their best can be.
I feel that the educational system is evolving and changing with technology, and also with the recent pandemic, it has to change to accommodate for that situation. I'd like to see the return of basic life courses as electives, such as home ec, consumer ed, and industrial arts. Our younger generation can benefit from learning how to cook, bake, and maybe sew, manage their personal finances, and also change a flat tire.
Para mí el sistema educativo en lo personal me ha ayudado mucho, he tenido mucho apoyo, ¿verdad? A mí me gustaría que hubiera más recursos, ¿verdad? Para los padres, para los alumnos, y más apoyo para los maestros.
My main goal is that the parent engagement is a very crucial part of the school system. An engaged parent, and I remember my mom doing it with me, and I might recall that I repeating the same story with my mom, that my classmates were asking about that too, and I created a crucial part in the bonding that it takes for a mother like us in this very busy world to become part of the school system because there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of learning. There's a lot of knowledge that we can get to be empowered enough to transpass that to our children. And knowing the fact that this community is very diverse and we have to implement certain language and how to approach the people who make decisions is very crucial. How do you approach to the students? The students always need to be listened because they all have particular needs. So knowing the fact that we know those needs and how we're going to approach it and implement things that they make them happy. Learning shouldn't be boring. Learning shouldn't be struggle. Learning should be fun and in a peaceful way that everybody can get that part of knowing that I'm being listened and I'm being considered. We all look for that in life.
I believe the educational system is one of the most important things that we can have. It not only teaches you to look at things in different ways, but it teaches you the history and where we came from. And I'm really happy that all my kids seem to enjoy school a lot.
Hoy las fortalezas de mi hijo son la lectura. La lectura, le gusta informarse, es muy dedicado en sus tareas, se preocupa por sus calificaciones y estoy muy orgullosa de él.
He's very assertive, he's a go-getter and a hands-on worker. He enjoys helping people and learning new things. In school, once in a while, he's the one that jumps in when there's an audio-visual problem with the equipment, and he has no problem helping getting that set up. And just recently, my dad, his elderly grandfather, was doing some yard work, and he noticed that he was having difficulty, so he had no problem jumping in, helping with the heavy lifting and the manual labor.
Well, there's so many ways that I saw their strength. First of all, my daughter, which is couldn't enroll in the school district, she's awesome at drawing. The first thing I saw when I saw her taking a pencil on a white paper and I saw her drawing an eye. Of course, I saw, oh, what a beautiful eye it is, but it was not a one eye, it was 2, 3, 4 eyes everywhere. That means for me, is look at me. It's like, look at me, what I'm trying to say, that is, you have to look through me, not through this eye. It's a call for help. And I noticed that she has the most beautiful writing skills that is telling me more than just look at my eye. It's like, look beyond me. So I said, you know what, you have a good drawing. I praise her. I say, you're amazing drawer. But I say, are you okay? You want me to go through this? What do you mean with this drawings? And she's like, I want you to look at me, Mom. And that's what I went with the last question that I answered. We need to look into the child, and drawings are the best way to communicate and start a conversation for your children. Like, what do you want to do? What is your expectancies of life?
One of the things that I love about her is that she has clear vision for her life, and she often speaks of her life's plans. She has empathy, and she's compassionate, caring, and very loyal. My youngest she's a highly gifted writer and an amazing communicator. She has a knack for languages, being biliterate in English and Spanish. Last year, she began teaching herself a third language. Actually, during COVID, the pandemic, started teaching herself a third language. She's very creative, has been writing fictional books since she was a child. And even before she could write, she would scribble something and say, "Mommy, my book." She's a budding entrepreneur, having launched multiple successful home-based business ventures. She's willing to work hard and perseveres to achieve her goals.
My son, well, all my children, the most wonderful thing that I think about them is that they are secure in who they are. They absolutely know who they are. Even if they're seeking to find a different path, they know who they're going to be when they walk that path. And that's so important to me. Not one of my kids has ever questioned or needed to question who they are, but just the surrounding around them, how people will react to them takes away from them. And that's why it's so important for me to teach them how they react to other people is important, so that they know that they can create that safe environment that they themselves deserve.
Yo la escuela la recuerdo, no había recursos, la educación de mis padres fue muy limitada. no teníamos apoyo, ¿verdad? Sí me gustaba, pero para mí fue algo como, ay, muy traumático en cierta forma, porque me dejaron y les olvidé tres veces en el kinder. Entonces a esa edad de preescolar se queda la imagen tal cual. Hasta me acuerdo de un mandilito que llevaba todo, pero me costó mucho trabajo, muchos años de superación y lo he logrado, pero no se me olvida. Y no le echo la culpa a mi mamá, porque volvemos a lo mismo. Trabajaba todo el día.
Okay, I enjoyed school a lot. I enjoyed learning, seeing my friends, participating in the clubs and extracurricular activities. I attended Southwest High School down in South San Diego, and elementary school as well in the South Bay. I went to Emory. I went to then transitioned to Marcus the Middle at the time, and then to Southwest. And my experience throughout was very positive. And it kind of transitions to where I'm at now. I enjoy volunteering at Olympian because I like to help facilitate a positive experience for the kids at the events that I volunteer at.
What I remember school is my teachers. I feel a very, very powerful contract emotionally between teacher, student, and parent. This is crucial for everything. I can remember when I can remember everything that they did to me, but when there's a very negative impact, the kids don't forget, don't remember everything. They might just have it on their mind, but the body does not forget. So they feel the pain of when the teacher may create an impact negatively on a student, but also create a very positive environment when a teacher is engaged with the students. So I believe on the public school system that when there's a contract, open up conversation between a teacher and a parent, the students always succeeds. That's why it is very important for us. I think I mentioned it earlier in the last question that how important it is about remembering your backgrounds, how your mother and your parent or a tia or maybe a godmother was engaged with you, or maybe there was nobody. So that was turn it in a very positive way so students can see at least somebody's taking care of me. If it's not my family, it's my teacher.
I actually attended Sweetwater Union High School all through, so I'm a graduate of Hilltop High School. And one of the biggest memories I have is that I was a small, slightly awkward child, but I loved writing. I loved writing so much. And I remember there was a teacher, an English teacher at Hilltop named Mrs. Lee. And Mrs. Lee believed in me. And even when I told her my goal was to go to UCLA, she said, "How can I help?" And she wrote me a letter of recommendation. And she told me, "Nadia, not every day is going to be a success, but you can try to be a success every day." And that just made such a big difference for me to have that one teacher that really believed the thing that I loved I could do.
When I think of memories of my own school life, my days were very memorable. I remember first and foremost, I distinctly remember looking forward to lunch in the cafeteria because they served delicious soul food where I grew up. I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I attended primary and secondary school there. Many of the school administrators and staff knew my family, and they looked like us. There was a closeness amongst the students and faculty. The faculty had very high expectations of us and held us accountable, and our parents held them accountable. There was friendships and relationships and even interactions outside of school grounds. Our teachers were invested in our learning. I still visit some of my favorite teachers when I return to Tulsa to visit family. Many of my classmates' parents also attended school with my mother and her twin sister. So we interacted at class reunions, social gatherings, and other outside school activities. The community supported our school sports in a big way. Whether they had children who were currently attending school or previously attended, they showed up.
Raising children as a military family with an active duty spouse is a struggle at times. One becomes both parents, having to take care of the kids and maintaining the home. And in my case, I had a full-time job. Once the parent becomes the dual-hatted parent when the military spouse is deployed and serving their country.
Para mí, crear a mi hijo no ha sido fácil, pero tampoco imposible, ¿verdad? Porque criar un niño con necesidades especiales conlleva mucha paciencia, mucha dedicación, y mucho amor, ¿verdad? Y estos logros han sido gracias al apoyo de los maestros que siempre ha tenido hasta la fecha.
The confidence to know that we're doing the right thing. I think sometimes, especially in high schools, where you're interacting with different beings that are coming into themselves and discovering themselves, and then you're dealing with their parents as well, who may not fully know who those kids are. Sometimes you get a lot of feedback and you think to yourself, am I doing the right thing? Am I raising my kid the right way? I think my son going through high school was difficult for him in that he changed. But he was confident in that change, but people wanted him to be less confident about it. And he didn't know how to take that on. And I wanted to give him all my strength, but he didn't want it. He wanted to do this on his own. So I think as a parent, you're constantly questioning, am I giving enough support? Am I giving too much support? Am I saying the right things? Am I giving the right lessons? So sometimes I think as a parent, the biggest thing we can do is remember that at the core, if we love our kids, then we're doing the right thing. Maybe not the right steps, but we got our heart behind it.
Hi, my name's Rebecca Lopez. I'm married and 54 years old with 3 adult children. I currently work for the city of Chula Vista and I'm a retired probation officer. So I remember my parents, especially my dad, being a lifelong learner. He didn't go very far in his schooling, but he made it a point to always learn. He worked in the construction trade, so he was a foreman for a construction company. And he would bring home his blueprints. So he would lay them out on our dining room table and he would do the calculations and the measurements. And I would just be so impressed just watching him doing that work. I mean, I knew it was a little bit of a struggle for him, but he was very consistent and stood with it. I learned a lot by watching him being a learner, learning these things at home. I was also impressed with his hard work, his work ethic, and his willingness to bring things home. And if he didn't know how to do it, he stuck with it, or he made calls and he figured things out. My mom taught us more things on the cultural side. So she took us to visit our Nana and our Tias, and we learned about our family members and the ancestry and the trials and tribulations of people that came before us. And I think it gave me a lot of pride in who I was. It helped me to be grounded and know that we had family behind us and who encouraged us to do well in school and all the things that we did and to be good people. Those things stuck with me a lifetime, and I will always remember my parents for that. So there are many opportunities to be involved, whether it's in dance or music or whatever your child likes, art, even going to local parks and museums, just being involved and taking those opportunities to support their interests, getting to know what they like, encourage those positive things, emphasize the importance of learning and education, and let your children know that learning is a lifelong process. Take courses, do homework together, and other activities. Learning is a lifelong process and it can be enjoyed together. I think the hardest thing about raising children is knowing when to let them do it on their own and when they need help. Most of the time they will try to do it on their own, and then there are times when they really need to have that support, and even if they don't say it, they need you to either listen to them, just listen, or maybe they want advice, or maybe it's a time that you have to step in. Maybe there's a time where something's over their head and it's really bogging them down, and you really need to get in there and, okay, let's figure this out. I can't watch you go through a hard time and not help. So I guess watching them grow and make mistakes is very difficult. Um, but you always plant seeds. Always plant those seeds that and give them advice that will help them to continue to grow. And it works. My kids did a wonderful job. I'm so proud of them. So I hope to continue and teach those values to my grandchildren and the cultural awareness and the contributions of women, people of color, and cultures that make our world great. I hope that we can all teach our children how to observe and use their voice. Advocating for themselves builds character and leadership and are amazing qualities to have for a successful and rewarding future.